All right, so we're back to it. I think this is part 8. Okay, so part 8, and in this part, we're going to actually add the explosion, and we're going to sort of finish off this event so that we can start working on the next event, which will be down here, which is where we need some more lighting down here as well, because we're not getting anything lit up on this back wall. So we'll sort that out. So yeah, we're going to come into here, and then it's going to be an airlock, and then we're going to get shot out into space. There's going to be a planet over here, something like that. Anyway, but before we do that, there's a gap there. We'll fix that later. Before we do that, we're going to put the explosion in for when this happens. So in order to do that, I just need to go to my library. Now in space, there's no oxygen. Now, so if there was an explosion, there'd be a very little bit of fire, but it would, there wouldn't be much fire. But we're going to ignore that because, we want the feedback, we want the explosion. Now, I have got an explosion pack. So let's find that. Explosion builder, okay, and it just comes with some pre-made, so we're going to use that. And we want to add it to our, what's this tutorial called? It's called it's not, let's create this one, add to project. Okay, so while that's happening, because I think that's quite a big file, we can figure out what we're going to do. Right, well, we've already got this target point here, so we can just use that to spawn in the explosion. We'll have a large explosion. That'll look cool, and obviously that'll sell that more. And then when we get all a lot of this is going to be sold with sound effects as well. So when we get those sound effects in there, of the klaxons going off, and what we need to do, we need to start thinking about is adding in these red lights. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do that. I was thinking about having them on the bottom here or on the wall so that they're, but I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure how I'm going to do that yet. Look at this explosion. So it's 1.6 gig. So that's going to take a while. So I am going to pause the video and I'll see you in 2 seconds. Right, so that's been added. So we'll go to our content folder, and then we've got an explosion folder now. And then if we go to particles, we can see all the different explosions that we've got. So let's have a look. So this one looks good. Now this is going to take a while. And well, you can build an explosion using this, but I'm not really good at doing that. So I'm just going to choose one. And maybe we can amend it and change it a little bit. But I'm still learning about all this stuff. I don't really play around in here all that often. So, yeah. Best thing to do is just go in and play around with it. So that's what we'll do. So we'll grab the target point because we're going to need... No, we want the target point. Grab that. Oh, wait, let me select it. Oh, it's because this is here and I am selecting it. So force field spawn. We'll also use that. So let's go into the level blueprints. We'll also use that to spawn emitter location, and the emitter we want to spawn is the one we've got selected at the moment, which is that impact explosion, and the location wants to be the force field spawn arrow. So we want to get world location, plug that into the location. It should be as simple as that. Like I say, we might want to spawn in some smoke as well and see what it looks like. Oh, it needs to come before the delay. You could see it there even though it hadn't compiled. But let's go back in. Just hide that. Let's go back to the here. Disconnect that and put it before the delay. So move all this down here. Put that in before the delay. Move this back. I'm not really happy with that, but it looks a bit of a mess, but it'll do. It's just compiling the shaders. Okay. So it did spawn in the explosion, but you know we couldn't see it because it's still compiling the shaders. So we'll just wait for the shaders to compile, and then we can see where we're going wrong, if we're going wrong, or do we want to make it a little smaller? Do we want to change it so that you know? I think we want this Sparks one as well. I think we'll combine a couple of these together to make sure we get the right thing we want. What we might do is create a blueprint of the explode, and then we can put a bunch of particle effects together inside the blueprint and play around with it inside there, and then bring it in and spawn that instead. That might be a good idea, but we'll see how this looks. I'll just give it another go now. So that shockwave thing looks great at the beginning. Obviously, we can only see the grey mesh part at the moment, but it sort of expands. That looks cool, but that actual explosion looked rubbish. So, oh, it's got minus 14 shaders to compile. That's interesting. Okay, let's just go back and have another look at that. Hmm. Okay. What happens if we spawn these streamers as well? So, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go into content. I'm going to go into blueprints. I'm going to create. I'm going to go actor. So blueprint class, actor, call it explosion. Explosion. I'm not spelled that right. Never mind. Explosion, and we want to add a particle effect. Particle system, should I say? And we want that one we've just had hold of. Okay, don't seem I've got it selected anymore. Explosions, particles, and we've got this one at the moment. So we'll just select that, go back to our explosion, and then hit this arrow, and I'll add that in. So if we hit simulate, we can see it. Okay. And then if we add another particle system, well, if we just select streamers and then add another particle system, and then it'll add, yeah, that. Okay, that's starting to look better. Let's see if we can swap out this one for something else. So let's minimize. Oh, I didn't want to double click. Let's click once. Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to double click. And then that instead. So when that's loaded in, it's starting to look like it might look good. So we'll just leave that, and then we'll actually spawn that in the level blueprint. So go to open level blueprint, and instead of spawning an emitter, we will spawn actor from class. And the actor wants to be the explode sun, because I spelled it wrong. And the transform wants to be the get world transform, so we can just drag that into there and delete that, hit compile, and now that should spawn in yeah, that look cool. Oh, it just continuously spawns it though. Oh yeah, because I keep walking into the trigger, that's why. But once that's happened once, we want that trigger to be destroyed. So we'll go to the open level blueprints, and then the trigger. So we need to get a reference for the trigger. I thought I had it selected. You didn't. Go to the trigger. What time are we on? 5 more minutes. Get a reference. Create a reference to trigger box, and then we want to destroy actor. Probably want to. Yeah, we'll have to do it now. So the problem is that they just shoot out a little too fast. It's still like a jump there. So let's see. Because what we could do is add a slow motion there. So when that does happen, that you have much more time to read it. It'd probably look cool. We're definitely going to try that. We'll try that in the next video. We'll try it in. So as this happens, as you collide with that, it all just slows down for a minute. Obviously, I don't think this is the best way to do this. Initially, I thought I could just place a point out here and then have them move to that point really fast. But that didn't work. So this, and also we need to destroy this wall. So I thought it's 2 birds with 1 stone. So let's see if we can go to level blueprints. Set time. Set global time dilation. So when this happens, oh look, we haven't plugged in that delay. That'll be why things seem to be happening really fast. Let's just go back in there, have a look at that. We're talking, still happens really fast. So let's go back to the global open level blueprint. We can do it in between these things because we definitely want to do it before we spawn the explosion. So try to put it there. So I believe 1 is normal time. Let's do 0.5. Pile. See if that helps us out at all. So that did slow time down, but I think we want to do it before. I think we just want to. So let's just go to the open level blueprints. Want to do it here before we spawn the impulse, I believe. Plug that in there. Plug that in there. And let's set that to 0.2, so it really does slow down. Compile. And we go, ooh, I'm talking in slow motion. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's it. Okay, we now have it. All right. Okay, so that's that. I think that we're pretty much done with that, except for that we have then got to, we'll just do that now. We've then got to Control CV, set this back to 1. So we've already got a second delay there. I'm going to delay again. For another 1 second, maybe. Let's set that. In. Just seeing if we could do it with a lerp. Maybe that we'll set. I'll have a look at that. Another one. Okay, so compile. Right. So because the time dilation is in effect, it makes the delays much longer, right? Because it's actually applying the dilation to the delays as well. So what we need to do is maybe set that one, that's fine, but then set this just to be 0.2. Maybe we just don't have a delay there. Let's have a look at that. Because we don't want to be in slow motion for too long. So I'm in slow motion, slow motion, slow motion, slow motion. Yeah, it's too long. So I'm just going to tweak this. But I'll sign off the video, I'll tweak this, and then we'll come back and we'll probably work on the escape pod. See you in the next one.